Now we're on to see what's making the rounds on the web with James Creedon. We start with a trend on social media in Italy where photographs of naked statues are being tweeted. I think this is a reference to our story earlier.
That's right. The Hassan Rouhani, the Iranian president, is currently in Italy. He's signing a raft of economic deals and for a tour around some of the historic sites in the Italian capital, some Roman goddesses who were a little bit unclothed or naked, were covered up for the occasion.
Both women and men?
I think both women and men, but in any case...
you can't really tell. I mean, they're all covered up.
In any case, nudity was not particularly welcome or desired, and it appears that the Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi asked for the statues to be covered up.
I wonder if he thanked Renzi for that measure. I wonder if he...
It's unclear whether there was a request, first of all,
right.
And whether it was seen as... I think it was probably just an attempt to keep everybody happy while these economic deals are being signed and to respect...
17 billion, it's a lot of money.
It is indeed, and to respect protocol. But you can see that on social media, Italians were expressing their... concern about this and actually tweeting messages to Rouhani with all sorts of nude statues. So in case he missed the real thing while in the Roman capital, on his Twitter account he was getting an eyeful of Roman goddess nudity. So there you go. This is another statue. People have been joking as well on Twitter, saying that this statue didn't have time to get dressed just before Mr. Rouhani passed by.
She had nothing to wear.
Right. She was choosing her clothing. And this cartoon is depicting two options here: an Italian solution on the left, in other words, cover the statue, and maybe a more logical solution on the right, which is Mr. Rouhani, I suppose.
Well, he could have covered up as well, right?
He could have just covered his eyes as he was walking past. Anyway, but just before we go on, Shona, it does remind us of a similar sort of issue that got coverage in the French media back in November when there was a lunch planned for the Iranian president at the Elysee Palace. A request was put in by the Iranian delegation for a halal meal and with no alcohol on the table, and the Elysee Palace refused on the grounds of Republican traditions. So it set off this debate about whether or not you should, as the host, sort of give the guest what they might like, which you might think is just being polite. Right. But I suppose at this level of diplomacy...
Or be France and stick it to them.
That's right.
I mean, that's basically what Hollande did,
Or,
right?
I mean, could they not just have had a little bit of wine at the table and those who don't want it don't have it? In any case, the lunch never happened because they couldn't agree on the protocol. They couldn't
on the menu.
That's right.
Well, next to a hashtag on French social media in the aftermath of Nicolas Sarkozy's new book, there's a lot of fun going on there. Rewrite history like Sarkozy.
That's right. Now, the hashtag, you can see it there, rewrite history like Sarkozy. Now, this is a reference to a couple of little errors in the book, or indeed big errors.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah, where there was a reference to George Bush and Barack Obama's very sort of passionate campaign, quite a violent, as the French word puts it, which doesn't mean physically violent, but sort of passionate campaign. Of course, they never faced off in any election, George Bush and Barack Obama. Right. This is also probably not helped by the fact that Nicolas Sarkozy has in the past been a little bit inaccurate about his own role in history. He claimed historically that he was there at the night the Berlin Wall came down, and there's this photo which seems to prove it, except it was photographed a week after that historic event. So internet users have been placing him in all sorts of other historic events. I must talk to you about that time I drove around in a Cadillac with the King, and somebody seems to have photoshopped him into a Cadillac there with Elvis. Let's not forget the famous speech, I Have a Dream, which was spoken by General de Gaulle during the American Civil War. Don't think that ever happened.
Right, well, maybe Sarko can say that he actually didn't write the book, because he didn't.
I think he had ghostwriters who are probably now getting firmly wrapped over the knuckles.
All right, thank you so much, James.
Thanks,
that was Media Watch.